CJ Stroud's been very good at football. I did the whole deep dive. We'll get into some of the best stuff from that. We've heard the national host that I think were probably a little bit too late coming around on CJ Stroud. We've seen the MVP odds skyrocket. Brendan Riley texted me 8 days ago saying that he played it at plus 14,000, I think, or plus 13,000. It's been bet down to plus 4,000. I saw some places that he's as high as number 5 in the NFL to win the MVP. It's absurd.
It's amazing. And again, all credit to him, all credit to the Texans. But at the start of the year, if you could have had the foresight to say he's going to have a good year, there's no way in hell you're saying that translates to being top 5 in the MVP balloting if it was had to happen right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is.
And I think he would finish top 5.
I think he would too.
I think he's starting to get some love enough where he's going to get the attention of these voters. Well, I mean, the Texans are a playoff team right now. Like, if you're a playoff team after you've won 11 games in the last 3 years, 4 games last year, and you are the reason that you're playing at this high of a level, you've led 2 game-winning drives in the last 2 games, like, you're going to get MVP praise. For goodness sakes, Justin Fields finished, 9th last year? How? I don't know. One rogue voter? I don't know. It's weird. But if Justin Fields can finish 9th in the top 10, CJ Stroud can finish 5th. He's a way better quarterback than Justin Fields.
Hey, look, I think it translates like we were talking about from the fact that I think that D'Amico should be a front runner for Coach of the Year. I think that CJ is definitely already won offensive rookie of the year, but that CJ translates because of the leap that you're talking about, because of where everybody saw this team for this upcoming season. And yes, Patrick Creighton, I said they were only going to win 4 games because I just didn't think the roster was good enough, and I hadn't seen enough of CJ Stroud to believe that as an NFL quarterback, he was going to make this quantum leap and be this guy this good. But because of all these things, it's like as it relates to D'Amico, Dan Campbell was right on the outskirts of the playoffs a year ago. If they just make the playoffs this year, yeah, they'll improve by a couple of games. But they're already supposed to be a playoff team. Texans weren't supposed to be in this position right now with this team, with this roster, and there's 2 guys leading the charge, and both of them deserve all the accolades and should be in the running for these 2 awards.
I'm having trouble in, I don't want to get, so excited where it sounds fake about CJ Stroud. But the dude is this good. He really is. And I've been on it for a while now, watching the film of him. He's doing things that other quarterbacks aren't capable of doing. Like, you watch Dan Orlovsky break him down. You watch JT O'Sullivan break him down. Like, he's looking safeties off. He's looking linebackers off and getting them to bite just with his eyes 9 games into his rookie season. It's unheard of stuff. We already know the ball placement. We already know the accuracy. His arm's plenty strong enough. That was on display Sunday as well. It's been on display all year long. The knock on him was how is he handling blitzes? He handles blitzes so well 9 games into his NFL career that NFL defensive coordinators, and not just your run-of-the-mill NFL defensive coordinators, NFL defensive coordinators that have accolades, that have the reputation of being some of the best defensive minds in the world, they refuse to blitz him because he's picking the blitz apart. Cincinnati threw a new wrinkle at him this past week where they were trying to run half of their plays in man coverage. They had to abort that because they're crushing man coverage. You get Tank Dell on a drag, good luck covering that in man coverage. Or Noah Brown, who's been really good, or Dalton Schultz with his size. But Stroud elevating all of those guys. So it's been impressive to watch. The argument that you heard recently about Stroud, what's it going to take for him to win the MVP? And Orlovsky's been praising him, saying he's number 1 on his list. And we saw a little argument yesterday with Teddy Bruschi. And I saw some Houston people get a little sensitive to what Teddy Bruschi had to say. I think Bruschi's onto something, though, because for CJ Stroud to win the MVP, what has to happen? 713-780-ESPN HRMP listener line, 713-780-3776. Obviously, the numbers have to be there. But Bruschi brought up a really good point that I didn't even realize in the moment. I went and fact-checked it. He said that the Texans need to be at the top of their division. They need to win more games. Yeah, basically he said that. He said, talk to me whenever they're leading their division. And a lot of people poo-pooed that. The Texans, great, strides from where they were a year ago. I went and did the numbers on this, or I looked at the past MVP winners. The last MVP winner that didn't win the division was Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
In 2012.
Yeah, that was a long time
ago.
So
that's 10 or 11 MVPs in a row that have won their division. So I think for Stroud to be a legitimate MVP candidate, it's crazy we're talking about this 9 games into the career of CJ Stroud, and there's only been 1 rookie that has ever won the MVP. That was Jim Brown way back in the day. So Stroud's in very, uncharted water here. I do think that for CJ Stroud to be a legitimate MVP win the MVP for only the second time in NFL history for a rookie, first since Jim Brown. I do think the Texans have to win the division.
See, I didn't know all of that. So when you posed the question, my first response was going to be, well, they got to make the playoffs. Because if they make the playoffs, and we talk again about like the leap that they would have made if they make the playoffs from where they were last year and the year before, but specifically because we go year to year. Last year they were so bad. To turn right around in 1 year's time and make the playoffs and know that it is the majority of it is because of you and your performance. And like you said, then the numbers back that up. And if they continue to do so, I would think that that would be enough. And I know that, in a lot of ways, a lot of these voters are set in their ways and that, they have these rules or these unwritten rules that they have to follow and go by when they place votes and things like that. But I think, sometimes it's just admitting a new day can dawn in the fact that this guy's doing something across the board that we haven't seen maybe since I want to go as back as Jim Brown. I never saw him play, but
you didn't?
No, not nice. But I couldn't have seen that one coming. But at the same time, you have to call it year to year by what you're seeing. And what you're seeing is a quarterback that is transcending what rookie quarterbacks have done in this league over the course of time. No rookie quarterback comes in and is past the midway point, has 2 picks. No rookie quarterback comes in and is either leading or close to leading the league in passing yards in his first season. And then when you start digging deeper like we do and watching the games and watching all the little idiosyncrasies and realizing, his reads, his pre-snap reads, and then his progressions, and then where he puts the football and what he's able to do, whether he wins the division or not, I think if he continues to do this, he's done more than enough to be deep into that conversation.
It's hard to say these things because it feels like you're putting the cart ahead of the horse because he doesn't have the body of work because he's played 9 games. But watch the body of work that he does have. Mm-hmm. And we threw around where does CJ Stroud rank amongst NFL quarterbacks right now this second. For me, I look at it as I want the ball in this guy's hand. I need to go score a touchdown with 1.5 minutes left to play. A timeout or two. Everything else is equal. I think the only guy I'm picking ahead of CJ Stroud right now is Pat Mahomes. Yeah. I'm talking about everything else being equal. They have the same offense. They're going up against the same defense, all of that. One guy, the quarterback position, that's the only thing that's changing. Who do I trust the most to go score a drive, go score a touchdown, go kick a field goal in a game-winning situation with 1.5 minutes? Am I picking Josh Allen? No. You kidding me? He's gonna intercept. He's gonna throw interceptions just as often as he's gonna throw touchdowns. How about Burrow? We saw Burrow in crunch time on Sunday, and I love Joe Burrow. I think he's third on my list. Threw 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Now, he did have the game-winning touchdown drive that was dropped by Tyler Boyd, but he also threw 2 interceptions. Now, Stroud threw 1, but then was able to lead the drive that you kicked the field goal. The only guy for me is Pat Mahomes. Not throwing numbers aside. I know Stroud's numbers are very good. Tua's numbers are very good. Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts had better numbers last year than he does this year, but I think he's a better player this year than he was last year, or at least equal to. I look at CJ Stroud as that guy. Stroud has elevated to my number 2 quarterback in the NFL. And I understand how crazy that sounds to put him ahead of Herbert, to put him ahead of Josh Allen, to put him ahead of Lamar Jackson, to put him ahead of Joe Burrow. I understand the craziness. It's why I almost want to hesitate to say it. But I can't do that. I owe more. I owe it to you guys to tell you how I feel. Stroud is elevated to the second best quarterback in the NFL for me.